Hello, and welcome everyone to Seven Sisters. Today I'm really excited. I love when I come to introduce a new sister into this channel. And today we're gonna speak with Deanna. She has an amazing offering to do. When I started creating this project, I envisioned bringing healers from different perspectives. So we were working together, and we already had a sound healer and somebody with holistic health, and then we have Sandrine with EFT and hypnosis, and I'm doing shadow work. We're going to introduce Clara next week. And I was like, I'm missing an astrologer because astrology is becoming like really big. And I was really lucky that Keegan knows Deanna. And she told me, like, I'm going to contact you with the most amazing astrologer. And I loved absolutely what you're doing in social media. So, Deanna, thank you very much for coming in today. But thank you very much for being part of Seven Sisters, and welcome to this space.
Oh my gosh, it is such an honor and a blessing and a godsend to be invited into this container. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am thrilled you have no idea. When Keegan came to me and asked me for this, my whole body lit up. It was a heck yes, let's do this. I love to talk. I love astrology. I am so passionate about it. And I think too, I'm just a very animated human. So I make it fun, right? I think that's all about. So I am so, so happy to be a part of this sisterhood. Thank you.
You're very fun, and you also make it super easy and super interesting. I would like you to introduce yourself. What do you want us to know about you? Where are you? What? Just share with us.
So, I am in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've lived here majority of my life. I was born in the northeast of New Jersey, but I migrated down here at a very early age with my family. And this has been my home. I gravitate towards the beach. While I've had my awakening, while I've, expanded so much, I subscribe now to I made my family move. I feel like I was the beacon of light that brought my family to South Florida because of the environment and the beach and all of that, because I'm the only one in my entire family who goes to the beach, who's more outdoorsy, all of that. So I feel that I brought this family down to South Florida. It's in a beautiful, beautiful land and area. I absolutely love astrology, as I said. And I've been getting my feet wet with it the last few years, and it's just changed my life for the better. And I can see what a language it is to help decode the stars, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about me and astrology.
Nice. I love that, and I love living by the ocean is the most amazing thing to do. I'm moving back the next month, and it's really like an amazing feeling, like I'm coming back to you.
I love it. And I mean, to also say too, like with astrology, there's so many different aspects of myself. I have a Sagittarius moon. So while I love, you do too? While I love South Florida, I love to travel. I think that is a very strong current that I embody around travel. And it's so expansive. So it's just, to have the astrology, to have the desire. And I always say that, the universe dangles these carrots in front of us. I've always felt this dangling carrot of travel and expansion. And I've always called. So this is home base, but I do travel quite a bit. And I also think there is something about traveling, and you'll probably agree with this, and staying in a place for a decent amount of time to really like submerge yourself into the culture, into the land, to ground in. When I was younger, I'd kind of go on these trips really quick. I really wouldn't get anything out of it. So as I've gotten older, travel and the longevity of staying in one place has really taught me so much about myself.
Yeah, I believe that it's not traveling outside, but each trip, it's a journey inward, right? You get to know yourself in so many dimensions when you're out of your comfort zone, and when you are just exploring the world. It's exploring your inner work as well. And I think you should do all our charts, because I'm guessing that all of us have a Sagittarius moon, because all the Seven Sisters of the world, we're very heavy travelers.
Oh, yes.
Very heavy. So I would like you to share with us, what are you going to share in Seven Sisters? We know that you're an astrologer, but what can we expect from your videos?
So I think one of the things that I actually do want to say on the channel is I'm someone who doesn't really subscribe to labels. So while I love astrology and while I, teach it and embody it and learn from it, the label astrologer, I don't know why, it just doesn't really fit. I think that anyone and everyone can be an astrologer because it truly is a language of the stars. And as long as you can read the ABCs or learn a language, you too can become an astrologer. But I think for this, container and this YouTube page, I think that what I have learned so much is cycles. Astrology is cycles, right? And if you can learn how to understand the energetic waves and currents, astrology is weather. It's the astro weather, right? Just like if I was to tell you it's going to be really rainy in a thunderstorm, you may want to put on a jacket, or you may want to have an umbrella or stay inside that day. If I tell you that it's going to be a beautiful sunny day, you're going to like get a cocktail and go outside and hang out by, the pool, right? And to live in that, to understand that there is always a prominent current going through the consciousness, and that is going to take us down the river, and to understand that weather in very practical, raw ways. I'm a straight shooter. I call it how it is. We're not perfect, and I think that going through the bumps of trying to figure it out, I truly embody that, and it's fun to watch. So storytelling around astrology, what may be the subtle energetics that you don't even know you're aware of, that is what astrology is. And to pretty much, I don't want to say dumb it down, but like layman's terms, right? No one, if I tell you, Jupiter trines Venus, that's very difficult to understand. What does that mean? Put that into practical words, Deanna. And that's what I'm here to share with the world.
That's beautiful. And I think that we are going to appreciate the practical aspect of your work, and also the storytelling. I enjoy listening to your social media, because your storytelling is really amazing. I've never thought of astrology like reading a weather. And also I'm loving this idea of cycles, because this would be like a way to tune into nature also.
Yeah. Absolutely. The moon tells us so much. If you can understand the moon phases, very simple. The moon's always out. You go outside, you look at it, you see how full it is, how small it is. That little tiny bit will shift your life immensely. That's where it really brought me into astrology. When that clicked, I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm tired. No wonder I'm amped up. No wonder I don't want to talk to anyone. It just made sense.
And we're so disconnected to nature. This is a beautiful and very feminine and powerful way. I'm loving this really. I would like you to share a little bit with us, which is your approach with astrology. Like, I understand, I'm not an expert and I have no idea, but I understand that there are certain school currents, I don't know how you even call them, but how would you describe your approach to astrology? Now I get it, like it's like a weather pattern for you. But is there any school or theory or something that you follow?
So absolutely. So I'm not a professional. I'm not, perfect at all. I'm still learning. I think too, I'm very self-taught. I obviously study under a few different mentors, but this really emerged when I would say even like birthstones. I know that can be silly, but when I was really, really, really little, birthstones always spoke to me. And then I started to understand they correlated with different months, and then understanding that different months associated with different zodiac signs. So when I was super, super little, that's when this passion started to emerge. I practice on a Western traditional predictive astrology base. I also do a lot of, personally in my readings, I love to look at people's shadow sides. I know that you do a lot of work with that. And we can tell so much in a person's chart where their traumas, where their suppressed desires are. I think that's really what I offer. I have Chiron in my first house. Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's this superpower that I've seen within myself where life hasn't been easy, like so many of us. And if we can look towards those bumps in the roads as truly this magic, this nectar, this ability to understand that in your birth chart, you were given these gifts to experience these possibly uncomfortable times in order to teach it, in order to, get uncomfortable, to help people, to guide people, to serve spirit. That's truly what how I see astrology. That's how I teach it. That's how I look at it in my one-to-one sessions. But I do whole sign houses, traditional astrology. Yeah.
And I love this part, like, don't be scared of these shadowy parts. No, it doesn't
No.
mean anything if you have Chiron in the first, the second, the third one. It will only mean that you will have some kind of mastery. So it doesn't mean that you're cursed or something like that. And that's very valuable, being able to see the things that you have as a shadow, as a path, right? As a path of enlightening, as a path of sharing with other people, as a path to knowing more of yourself. So I'm already loving this. And I hope that we can have more of this in the channel, like letting people know that it's okay to be however you want. You're not cursed. You don't have to fix anything.
No.
You have
No.
to
I
self-reflect.
think that's like the biggest thing too. I want to repeat this and I want to be so clear. There is no such thing as a bad birth chart. Like wipe that from your head, like wipe it completely. I've had readings in when I was younger where it kind of made me feel like I was broken or something was wrong, and that's not true. There's always the highest expression of something and there's always the lowest expression of something. The person with the best chart could have the shittiest life, like who knows. It's all up to the individual. And I think that you know astrology is such a potent medicine to remember our sovereignty and to really think of it as like the energy, and always bringing the energy back to self. We always want to astrology helps us so much with seeing where we're giving our power away to the external. That's where it's helped me the most. It truly is this ability to see, all right, you're playing victim in here. All right, like you could probably release and surrender a little bit here more, because Virgo is very uptight and loves details and all of that, right? Like there are these little bits and pieces where there's no bad chart. You are gifted and blessed in every incarnation.
I love this approach because it's very needed. There's a lot of, yes, I have had these kind of readings that I end up feeling bad about myself and feeling like this is going to be horrible for the rest of my life. And always encourage, this is like a mindset in this channel, always encouraging you, just find healers that will make you feel very good about yourself. Like if they're
Yes.
making you feel bad, they are not helping. We're all here to thrive. We're all here to shine. And whomever thinks something different, you might want to start working with somebody else. I'm loving this. You have just mentioned all the medicine that astrology has. How has it helped you personally? Like what does astrology has brought to your life?
So astrology has completely altered my life. I was somebody who I have Saturn in my 7th house of relationships, of one-to-one committed relationships. And I have noticed so many deep patterns around trying to control men and trying to, make them better, or it's just a very controlling attitude. And I think when I had a reading a couple years ago and a woman described what happened when I was in my late 20s, my Saturn return. And at that time, I was with somebody for 10 years, love of my life, the whole 9 yards. And my marriage came crashing down, right? We were together for 10 years, married for 6 months, and my world was just taken out beneath me. Came in one day and said, no more, we're not going to be together. And when that woman described everything that I went through in 2015, there was nothing that could have told me astrology wasn't real, that it didn't exist, that it was all mumbo jumbo or hoopla. Like it almost felt like she was with me during that year. The details that she saw and read in me. So once I got that reading, it completely shifted. That's when I really started to understand that everything happens in a cycle. Our Saturn returns happen, if we're lucky, 3 times in our lifetime. And Saturn is such a potent medicine. And he is the great wisdom teacher. He's, that father figure or that mother figure that may make you go outside and pluck all of the weeds, but you're gonna you're gonna have a really good inheritance once he passes. It's that delayed gratification. And being a Capricorn sun, having a stellium of Capricorn in my 8th house, having Saturn in my 7th house, I know Saturn's potency and the beauty of this delayed gratification and this work hard and this perseverance. So once I started to understand these archetypes within myself, I started to understand it at a larger scale of this cosmic dance, cosmic poetry, and being able to see, you know, of course, there are times where there are, you know, uncomfortable transits of planets in your birth chart happening, and that can be all itchy scratchy. Saturn returns are that, you know, they're a time where we really mature and we understand we're leaving a part of ourselves and looking behind and seeing where we can still take that the younger version of ourselves and grow the goodness into an either, you know, a bigger area, a more abundant direction of our life. So astrology just has changed my life so much around not playing the victim. Nothing happens to me. It all happens for me. Like I always strive that to my clients. And once you're able to decode that with astrology, it all makes sense that everything is in perfect divine timing. Yeah, things, you take 2 steps forward to go once, or you take, 2 steps forward to go 1 step forward, 2 steps back to go 1 step forward. Got it. But it's all perfect. It's all perfect.
I love this. I love this way of flowing with life. Like this is just a cycle. It will not be like this forever. Impermanence is one of the first laws.
Yes.
So I will not be stuck in pain. I will not be stuck in happiness. And as well, I just might learn how to dance, right? And understand that this is life with its up and downs. Maybe we don't like the downs very much, but there's a lot of wisdom in the downs, right? So
So
I
much
love
wisdom.
I really
It's
love
like
to
I always think of it too, like a slingshot, right? You're gonna go all the way back, and in that forward back contraction and all of that, it's just slinging you even more forward. And that's truly what the stars are doing. That's what the energies above are helping us here on earth to see and to feel, right? To become more in our body and to slow it down.
I love this. Thank you very much for sharing. And I'm really curious if somebody is really skeptical about this work, right? Because sometimes I find myself talking with my non-witchy friends, and I would be like, I don't know if I can come with you because the moon will be bad that day, or there's an eclipse, and I rather not go out of my house, no? And they would be laughing like, this is super weird what you're thinking about. What would you tell to these very skeptical people? Like,
I would tell them, number one, the sun always rises and the moon always sets. There is something that is much stronger than you or me or anyone. We don't control that, number one, right? So there's something to be said about that. The sun always rises and the moon always sets and the moon always rises. And then also too, I think having the conversation with people one-on-one. Oh, actually, let me take a step back. There is so much more to astrology than just your sun sign. I think in the Western world, we grip on to, I'm born January 7th, so I'm a Capricorn. I'm born June 9th, I'm a Gemini. You are made up of 12 different zodiac signs. Everybody has everything in them. And this, we've talked about cycles a lot on this little interview. It's all about decoding the cycles. And it's a language. It is truly a language, and it's been around for centuries. It's not something that's, you know, new and fatty right now, as much as TikTok and Instagram has made it appear and all that. But this language, this you know, very old language has been around since Jesus. Before Jesus, they've looked at the stars. So it have an open mind. Just have an open mind and understand that you don't know everything. I think that's really the key to skepticism. And then sign up for a session and I'll blow your socks off with some stuff.
that's a great idea. That's also the best way to deal with stuff. You don't believe it, try it, right?
Try it.
Be open, keep an open mind, keep an open heart. Maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't, but maybe and most likely you will end up being really impressed. No, I know a lot of people that will, after many years of being skeptical, will want to go to a tarot reading or do astrology or constellation or some kind of work, and they would be like really impressed, like, damn, it really works, right? Or they really knew. And I know, because it's my experience, astrology can be very surprising because also it's very clear. You cannot make things up. Like the moon was there, right? The same time, 7 years ago when you were repeating A Dark Night of the Soul, or when whatever, the moon was there and the sun was there. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. And this is what I love of astrology, because it's like a science, right?
It is a
It's just
science.
the sky.
And it's also, if you think about even like farmers, right? I mean, they go off they plant our food in accordance with the moon cycles, right? There is something to be said about that. And just, yeah, like the seasons. The seasons are astrology. It's the cycle of life. It's how it all works out. So yeah, that's. And I also think too, when people are skeptic, you have to kind of take responsibility for your skepticism, and the way that I always see it, because trust me, there have been quite a few people who have come across my desk who, maybe not skeptic, but definitely have their guard up. And it's like, if you're sitting there with your arms crossed saying, prove to me, you're very guarded, and there's a shield up. It's very noticeable. So if that shield's up, why would anything come knock it down? You have to take responsibility for the shield that you have put up. Like you were saying, open mind, open heart, right? Having an awareness around what you're putting into the universe with that.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, remember that you're part of this thing, right? Like, you're not randomly born. You are part of this universe. You're part of this cosmos. Like that, you cannot believe in anything, but you're part of this universe. Otherwise,
Yes.
you wouldn't be here. You would be in another universe, or I don't know where even you would be, right?
Right.
I think we live so much this connection with nature, with the rhythms, that we forget. We did not came here to do a 9 to 5. We did not came here to do a job. We did not came here just to be moms or whatever. There's something bigger, and I would really recommend astrology as a path of starting to connect with that thing that's bigger, because it's a beautiful and very healing path. I'm really looking forward to see everything that you share. Is there anything else that you want to share with us today?
I love to. I mean, you do a lot of work with ancestral healing and all of that. And something that was coming through when you were talking, think about when you pass. It's inevitable, right? Death and taxes. We all got to do it. Where does your body go? It goes back into the earth. It's inevitable. However you choose to deal with your body once you move on, it is absorbed into the earth. What is the earth? A planet. Like it, you are astrology. You are the earth, right? And you're just dancing with the rest of the cosmos in that unison, in that omnipresence.
I love it. That's a very powerful and magical message to remind us that we're part of something bigger. I think that if you just wake up and have this realization every morning, your days will come through differently. Deanna, thank you very much for joining Seven Sisters. Thank you very much
Thank
for the
you.
content that you will be creating for this interview. And see you for next week with your first video. I'm so excited.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to offerings.
Sending you a lot of love. Take care, and everybody, we'll see you around. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.